My name's Daniel. I live alone in a one-bedroom at the end of a quiet cul-de-sac, the kind of place that looks safe on a real estate brochure. Trees trimmed like they're auditioning for a parade, identical roofs, dogs that don't bark. It photographs well. But the photos never capture the noise of the silence here. How it swells after midnight like the whole street is holding its breath and waiting for something to knock. I moved in after a breakup that lasted longer than it should have. Back then the quiet felt medicinal. Now it feels like the quiet is studying me, learning my routine, learning my weak points. I work remote tech support. It means I spend more time with screens than with people. Laptop, phone, tablet, little blue suns that tell me everything I should care about. When you sit in front of those suns long enough, your own reflection starts to look like it belongs to someone else. I used to joke, if my screens ever talk back, I'll listen. I don't make that joke anymore. The first strange thing was small. Tuesday night. Too late to be awake. Too early to be honest about why I was. My phone buzzed once on the desk and then again, the vibration louder than it should have been in a room that empty. I picked it up expecting a system alert. One message. Sender, Daniel K. Me. The text read, "Don't answer the door at 3:17 a.m., no matter what you hear." I laughed. Reminder misfire, calendar glitch. Maybe I accidentally texted myself. I checked the clock. 3:14 a.m., 3 minutes. Too tidy to be random. There's an app that verifies senders, carrier, device ID, all that dull comfort. It confirmed the message came from my number. Same carrier, same device. My palms went damp in a way that had nothing to do with temperature. Curiosity overrides good sense. It always does. I turned off the lamp so the door at the end of the hallway would feel like a mouth I could stare into. I waited, felt stupid for waiting, felt more stupid for caring. At 3:17 it happened. 3 slow knocks, not loud, not shy, perfectly spaced, like whoever knocked had practiced. The door didn't rattle. The peephole didn't glow. It was polite, which made it worse. I couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. Then, whispering, right against the wood. My name, but not a stranger trying to imitate me. My voice with the chew marks of my own breath inside it. Daniel, open up. I stood there until the sky went chalk gray and the birds in the elm tree remembered they had a job. When I finally looked through the peephole, the hallway was empty. Only my welcome mat had been turned around, letters facing the door like it had been reading me all night. People will tell you the mind protects you by making it easy to explain things away. Mine tried. Long shift. Not enough water. The neighbor's kid playing a prank. All of it stacked up like furniture in front of the part of me that insisted I'd heard my own voice from the hallway. I made coffee, burned it, answered tickets, misread them. At noon I put on a clean t-shirt and told myself I was ridiculous. Then I opened the security app. The camera above my door records when it detects motion. Between 3:16 and 3:18, the feed went to snow. Not black, snow. At 3:18, the image cleared to one frame the camera shouldn't take. My apartment door, half open. I never opened it. There was nothing in the gap but hallway shadow. If I brightened the image, the shadow turned into geometry. If I darkened it, it became the shape of a head tilted too far forward, like someone listening to my breath. I should have called someone. The police, maybe. Or my ex, who still answers if the text says emergency. Instead, I closed the laptop and sat very still and tried to make my heart go quiet. When you listen to your heart too long, it starts to sound like someone else's footsteps. That night, I left the living room lights on. I lay on top of the covers in jeans and waited, not because I was brave, but because I didn't know what else a coward could do. My phone was on the nightstand, face down like a sleeping animal. At 3:17 it buzzed. I didn't want to look. I looked. You shouldn't have looked at the footage. The timestamp read 3:17 a.m. I deleted it, powered down the phone, pulled the SIM. I unplugged the router, the TV, the lamp. The room fell 2 floors deeper underground when the last LED died. The screen lit anyway, white, wordless, alive. Then the letters arrived like they had to walk a long distance to reach me. Let me in. I took my keys, went to my car, and slept with the seat all the way back. Around 4, a jogger glanced in and flinched like he'd seen something he couldn't unsee. The rear view showed a shape in the back seat, head tilted, mouth slightly parted. When I turned, the seat was empty. When I turned back, the mirror didn't show me right away. Next morning I unplugged everything. Router, TV, microwave, toaster, even the cheerful wrong clock. Silence returned, which meant I could hear new things. The baseboard clicking like knuckles, the fridge exhaling through its teeth, my ear ringing a single note that matched my phone's buzz. At 3:17 it didn't knock on the door. It tapped on the window. A polite glass sound. Tap, 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 patient, like it had all night. 3rd floor, no balcony, no ledge bigger than a brick, no tree branches close enough. I walked to the curtain without meaning to, as if something had already moved my feet. When I pulled the fabric aside, I saw myself. Not a reflection. The glass was black with night behind it. Not a dream. The cold bled from the pain into my skin. Same hoodie I'd slept in 3 nights ago. Same mouth that never closes right in photos. But the skin was freezer paper pale. The smile stretched too much, all the motion stolen and left in the eyes. He, or I, raised a hand and pressed his palm to the glass. Frost radiated in 5 white stems, branching until the whole window was a winter lung. I lifted my hand without thinking. The cold came through, or else I invented the cold, and it agreed. He pointed at the door. Then he was gone, as if the night swallowed him without a ripple. Behind me, every lock clicked open one by one. Deadbolt, latch, chain. The door didn't swing. It waited. The phone buzzed in the kitchen sink where I'd left it under a cup, like a bee trying to drown. I told you not to answer the door. After that, I acted like a version of myself I didn't recognize. I lined books against the door, moved the dresser, slid a chair under the knob. I told myself I'd be embarrassed later and decided that was later's problem. I sat on the kitchen floor and counted tiles until the light through the blinds changed from iron to bread. When I cleaned the glass, the frost was gone. But something remained, an oil handprint inside the window. I scrubbed until my shoulder ached. The hand decided to be patient and stay. Friday, I gave up on sleep. Sleep would have meant trusting the house to keep being a house. I watched harmless videos and let the sound of someone else's kitchen fill mine. At 2:57, my webcam light came on by itself. The software launched without my hands near the keys. The feed didn't show my face. It showed the back of my head from 3 feet behind me. Someone should have been holding the camera. From the speakers, a whisper made of static, less a voice than the memory of one. You left the window open. I spun. No one stood behind me. But the curtain swayed against still air, and I smelled something cold like pennies. The feed flickered again. For half a second, my screen showed me asleep in bed, the blanket to my mouth. Then black, still black even after I pulled the plug like I could unplug the building from itself. Morning offered something practical. Muddy footprints along the hallway laminate, drying into maps. Heel, toe, from my bedroom to the door. Same tread as my shoes, same length, same turn of the left foot. I could tell myself I sleepwalked. I could also tell myself I didn't. Neither version helped. At noon, the building manager knocked to remind me rent was due Monday, and the leak in 2B was worse. As he left, hand on my doorframe, he said, "Late night?" "Why?" I said too fast. "Heard you talking," he said. "Or talking to you. 2 of you. Didn't want to interrupt." He laughed like he was leaving me a gift. The hallway smelled like someone else's cologne long after he went downstairs. Saturday, I pretended to be brave by doing something that looks like it on paper. I set up every device to record. Phone camera at the door. Laptop mic open. Old voice recorder from a drawer, the kind you have to shake to convince the batteries. I arranged them like people at a surprise party waiting to shout. At 3:14, my dead, cracked, SIM-less phone vibrated and showed, "Don't answer the door at 3:17 a.m., no matter what you hear." From me. I had warned myself. The question in my throat wasn't why, it was when. Was I the original or the echo? At 3:16, the air pressure changed. Ears popped. Dust tasted like a word I couldn't pronounce. At 3:17, the knocking started. Not three this time. Many. Window, closet, cabinet. The hollow place under the bathroom sink. The wall behind my head where the building keeps its ribs. It sounded like a lot of small people asking to be let out. "Who's there?" I tried, and it came out like someone else learning my vowels. Silence. Then breathing. Close enough I could have bitten it if I'd known where to aim. I turned toward the hallway mirror. My reflection smiled before I did. It tilted its head a fraction faster than I tilted mine, as if it had already decided for me and was pleased with my obedience. It whispered, exactly as I knew it would. "You shouldn't have opened the message." The bulbs popped one at a time, a row of tiny suns dying. The only light left came from the phone, face up now, buzzing so hard it walked toward me across the floor. The sound became a single, endless note like static learning a song. Everything went black. I woke on the carpet under the living room window with my cheek wet from the condensation on the inside of the glass. The handprint was darker. The apartment looked freshly cleaned, like something had tidied while I was gone. The chair that had wedged the knob was back at the table. The books were stacked neatly, the dresser drawers shut with the kind of care you use when you don't want to wake a baby. My phone sat on the desk, screen alive. The sent folder was open. One message. "Don't answer the door at 3:17 a.m. From me, to me. Timestamp 3:14. If I sent it, was I the origin? If I was the origin, who told me to send it? If a warning comes from the future, is it instruction or obituary? I moved the next day, packed in 3 hours. Hired 2 guys who didn't ask why I wouldn't let them prop my door open. New place, new number, new phone. New me, I tried to believe. 2 quiet nights. On the 3rd, I cooked something that wasn't cereal and ate on the floor. At 3:14, the new phone buzzed. Unknown number. The message looked like my handwriting after a long time away. Wrong until it wasn't. "Don't answer the door at 3:17 a.m., no matter what you hear." It didn't say from me. It didn't have to. At 3:17, I didn't wait by the door. I ran water in the tub, turned the fan on, and talked out loud about nothing. My 7th grade teacher chewing dry erase markers, the bus stop with no bench, people who pour milk before cereal. I made noise like a body pretending to be 2. The knocking happened anyway. 3 patient knocks that didn't try to force the door because the door was already theirs. I stayed in the bathroom and counted to 90, and then to 90 again until numbers lost their edges. When I came out, the chain was set, deadbolt vertical, Matt saying, "Welcome," like a lie. The next afternoon, a neighbor waved. "Hey, the building group chat said you were asking about security cameras." I hadn't asked. Someone had, from my number. The thread showed questions I could have asked, and one I never would. "Do any of your windows face my living room window?" I deleted the app and washed my hands like superstition. Night after night, the schedule held. 3:17. Sometimes knocks. Sometimes the phone buzzing with a message already read. Once a voicemail icon with no voicemail. Once a series of photos taken from the hallway of my own front door, each blurrier than the last as if whoever took them didn't trust their hands. I bought a small analog clock with no light. If there were no digits, numbers couldn't be used against me. At 3:17, the little clock stopped, then lurched to catch up. In the morning, it was 5 minutes fast and dropping seconds like they were heavy. The thing about long fear is that it becomes boring, and boredom makes you reckless. 2 weeks in, I sat on the couch at 3:14, and when the message came, I replied. I typed, "Who are you?" Then deleted it. "What do you want?" Deleted. I typed, "How do I stop this?" 3 dots appeared, a mouth considering a bite. "Don't answer the door at 3:17 a.m., no matter what you hear." I hit call on my own number. It rang twice. On the 3rd, someone picked up. I heard my apartment through the speaker. Not this one. The other one. The heater clicking a second earlier, the fridge making a wet throat noise. Breathing that matched mine until mine skipped and the other didn't. "Please stop," I said. A voice like mine after a run said, almost kind. "You asked how. You don't answer." The line died. My call history saved it as Daniel K., me. I tried to outsmart the pattern. Stairwell naps, laundry room vigils, a motel off the highway with an AC that rattled like old bones. Still, 3:14 brought the text. 3:17 brought the knock. When I got home from the motel, a package waited with no return address. Inside, a cheap spiral notebook. On the first page, in my handwriting, shift log. The next page, 3:14, send the text. 3:17, knock 3 times. 3:18, wait. 3:19, he's still learning. The pages after were blank but dated, as if space had been reserved for what I hadn't done yet. I should have thrown it away. I put it in a drawer and watched the drawer like it might learn to breathe. Last night, I did the one thing I hadn't. I didn't hide. I didn't record. I sat in a chair by the door, with my hands on my knees. 3:14 buzzed. I didn't read it. 3:16, the air thinned. 3:17, 3 soft knocks. I didn't move. The peephole darkened like an eye closing. Then 3 knocks behind me, inside the wall where my bed rests. 3 in the ceiling above. 3 from the floor below. Like every version of my apartment had agreed to drum the same rhythm, and I was the skin. My phone vibrated once. I could see the message without looking. Let me in. I didn't answer. Didn't stand. Didn't breathe until the phone dimmed and the air gave back what it had taken.